Broadcast is live.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are
A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woo! Yay! What a fabulous day. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Margaretrose.
Merry Christmas! Woo! Yay!
We have a guest today. Margaretrose Cox is from Tallahassee. She's a very good friend of ours. We have known her for years. She's part of the John Maxwell certified leadership
Maxwell leadership
certified team, whatever we are.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But she's also a huge part of the Empowered Living family. And we just got to spend a weekend with her, not this past weekend, but the weekend before when we were down in West Palm. We got to reconnect with her, had a great time. And so, Margaretrose, for those people who don't know who you are, tell everybody all the fabulousness that you are.
Hey, well, it's awesome to be here with not just you, Michelle and James, but also with everybody that's with a Teague of their own. What a great platform that you guys are creating to bring people in and open them up to the leadership that opportunities that are out there, to all those other things. But thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. And the things that make me fabulous. Wow. There's just, I don't know, do we all, how much time do we have? Okay, so anyway, but the things that make me fabulous is that I'm truly passionate about helping other people to find their purpose, their vision, and their goals for their lives. And what is it that's going to get them to the dream life that they've always wanted to have? And so the past 5 years, I have been working into that for myself. And learning what that means to walk that path and to go through the processes that it takes to have that. And as I've gone into that, I've realized how much it's added value to my life and how much it's changed my thinking. It's changed every aspect of my life for the best. Mm-hmm. And what my goal and intention for this year is to do that for others, to create that space for them to be able to feel safe, that they can dream the dreams that they had once upon a time when they were little kids, before life got in the way and told them that they weren't allowed to dream anymore. And so living into that and bringing that forward for other people to understand that living a scarcity mindset, that there isn't enough, or that somebody else getting something means that you can't have it, changing their perspective and changing their outlook into seeing that life is abundant. Mm-hmm. There's more than enough pie for everybody. It's all out there for the taking, and all you have to do is ask for it. So that's one of the biggest intentions that I have for this year. And that's one of the things that I think is fabulous about me, is that I bring that out in other people. I want them to live their best life, and I mirror that for them. So
Awesome.
Did that answer the question? Did I do good? Did I do okay?
You did. That's the best. All right.
Yay!
I love that you bring up that there's plenty of pie out there. One of the things that I like to tell people is they make bigger pie plates.
Yes.
And one of the things Jim teaches in his classes is they make bigger pie plates.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's plenty to go around.
Or they just make another pie. That's the other thing too. You just make another pie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're training people to do. Make more pie.
Make more pie.
Make more pie. I love it.
It's great. One of the things that you brought up was intentionality. Mm-hmm. And this time of the year, I think there's a lot of people who are reflecting on what they've done, what they've accomplished over the past year. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at next year. They're looking at 2023, and they're saying, what can I do? What can I do that will improve upon what I started in 2022? What can I do that will make a difference in 2023? And I think, like you said, people need to be very intentional about what it is that they want to do. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to you to focus on intentionality?
Well, one of the things, and what I do with a lot of the clients that I work with, is when I first start working with someone, I ask them, how do you live your life? Mm-hmm. And then when they first come into the world of growth, a lot of times they think that life is just happening to them. They feel like they're, what I describe to them is the feather in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
You know, that feather that's at the beginning and it's at the end?
Yes.
And it's like, it just floats through life. Like everything is happening to it, but it has no control. And so it's a controlless world. And so you're at the mercy of the waves, so to say. Like if you were to walk into the ocean and you just didn't have any kind of like grounding of your feet, and you just let the waves just knock you over and knock you over and knock you over. And so many times people live their lives that way, and they don't understand why. Why is it happening? What is going on? And when I think of intentionality, it's taking the helm of thought and it's taking control of your life, and it's saying, wait a minute, I don't have to be a feather. I can walk into the ocean and plant my feet and say, come on, wave, bring it to me. And I'm going to be intentional that I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to be here and I'm going to decide what it is that I want my life to look like. And when I decide what I want my life to look like, then I get to become the person that brings all of that forward into my life. And that to me is living intentionally. You are setting your sights, you're creating your vision, you define everything as the purpose of why am I doing it, so that it becomes the sun that you pivot your life around.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide moving forward, how is it that I'm going to make this happen? What are the things that I need to do? And you live that with intention. You say, I intend to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I do it, and I will reap the rewards from that action. Or I will learn the lesson that I need to learn. Even when you set the intention, it doesn't always turn out the way you want it to turn out. But the thing is intentional living means that you're willing to take the lesson, harvest the good from it, and release the other stuff off to its highest good somewhere else, and then take that lesson and say, okay, what's the next intentional step?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all the way at the end.
And I like the thought of releasing it, because you're right. It's not yours. It's somebody else's.
Yeah.
When we do the values cards exercise, at the very beginning, I'll tell people when they're going through these values, there are some that will resonate with them and others that won't. And I make a point to be very intentional when I tell people it's not that these are good or bad values. It's just that the values that don't resonate with you are somebody else's values.
Right.
And you're releasing them to somebody else. They are more than happy to go find somebody else and be their value.
Exactly. And that's one of the other things, if you don't mind me jumping in real quick, as you're speaking into that. So especially when I have new young clients and they're trying to understand, what do you mean release it off to its highest good? And it's like, at some point in our mentor and is Paul Martinelli speaks into this, and this is who taught this to me. So I didn't just magically come up with this on my own. I want everybody to know a lot of what I speak into, I learned from Paul and my own life experiences. But when people are coming into my life and they're saying, well, what do you mean by it's release it off to its highest good? I mean, it's been with me. Like, these are thoughts, these are feelings, these are emotions, things that I'm attached to. And my thought process with them is always to say, at some point in your life, they served you, but they're not serving you anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that fear doesn't serve you anymore. So when you release it off to its highest good, like you were saying, I'm releasing it off to the universe. I'm giving it back to God.
Yep.
Okay. And when I give it back to God, He can then resource it. So it's kind of like recycling, I guess, if you're into that thing. So you're able to recycle those things so that they can serve someone that isn't in the process of the growth that you're in, but they can protect them from whatever thing that they have in their life that they need to be protected from. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes,
And so, and it speaks into exactly what you were saying. So like I said, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to add that because so often people don't understand what that means to release it off. Like, this doesn't serve me anymore.
Right.
It was handy. And I had that in-depth conversation with what I like to refer to as my former self, which is that person that hadn't gone through growth, or the young Margaretrose that went through a lot of the pain and agony of things that I went through growing up and absorbed the wounds. So that younger self with me, I had to honor her. So when she tries to show up and try to derail me, I had to honor her and say, you absorbed the wounds. I carry the scars to remind me that they happened. But I don't have to carry the wounds anymore. And
No.
so I'm releasing you off to that highest good and saying, hey, you did your time.
Yep.
I now have tools that get to give you rest.
Exactly.
So you just go ahead and you sit over there for a little while and you just observe how myself, this new version of you is going to be able to handle the trials and tribulations of life with these new tools and what I call the arrows in my quiver.
Yep.
And handle that without having to bring all of that other baggage of the wounds in moving forward.
I want to talk a little bit about something that happened several years ago for you. And I know you have some intentionality about it in this coming year. You created 2 characters. And it's been a few years in the making since you did this. You created a couple of characters. You created Enos and Earl.
I did. And wait, here we go.
And so tell
there
us
they are. This is my boys. I got my boys with me.
Tell us a little bit about how they came to be and what your plan is for them this coming year.
So Enos and Earl were born on a very chilly November morning when I got stuck in a tree stand with a gentleman that I was dating at the time. And he wanted me to go hunting with him. And I'll try to make this long story short, but it's really a fun story. So anyway, I'm up in this tree stand. Now, I am not an avid hunter, but I am an outdoorsy person. I like to be outside. So I thought, this will be fun. Wrong answer. So anyway, but I'm up in the tree stand. And at the time I had my hair in a ponytail and I wasn't allowed to have a cup of coffee. It's 5 o'clock in the morning because the coffee had a smell to it. At the time I smoked cigarettes, so I wasn't allowed to smoke. And I couldn't bring a book because the page turning, that would definitely distract the deer. So couldn't have cards. So I had to literally sit there silently.
That's not, that's, oh no.
Did I come back? Sorry about that. I apologize, everybody.
All right. So
sorry.
You're sitting silently, which is
I'm sitting silently
for you to do.
Yeah, it's very impossible. Anybody that knows me knows that Margaret Rose does not sit silent. Okay. No. So I was doing my best job of that. But every time I turned my head, my ponytail would make a noise. And so I would turn my head and I would get the stare down that said, you just cost me like the food for the rest of my life. Okay. And so I was like, there were a couple of expletives that came out of my mouth and I was like, this is ridiculous. Okay, so finally after 3 hours of this, 3 hours, I was sitting up there in this tree stand. I finally turned around and I said, okay, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And they were like, shh. And I'm like, no. If I went out into my backyard right now and went to smoke a cigarette, okay, 20 deer would show up in my backyard. And they turned around and they said, well, that's because those are city deer. And I said, what am I dealing with here? And they said, these are country deer. And I said, well, what are they doing? Drinking Acorn beer and riding around on their John Boy tractor all day? And they said, And I was like, oh. So the rest of my time, which was another 2.5 hours, I sat there, okay, in this tree stand and birthed these 2 characters named Enos and Earl. They have wives, they have friends, it's a whole world that lives up inside of my head. And so for almost a year after I created them, they just lived there and they festered and all these stories just came into my mind. And I finally found a graphic designer that could take what I had in my head and draw it. And so he actually helped me to create my characters. His name is Taylor Irwin and he's fabulous. So anyway, but he created my characters, and on October 20th, 2020, I launched them into the world. And so I took a dream, I had an idea, thought into it with my intellectual property, and created the physical form of them. And in the 2 years, we've got almost 11,000 followers for Enos and Earl now. The Escapades of Enos and Earl, you can find it on Facebook. And we are going to be launching into this year. Our goal is that we will go to market in Atlanta in July, and we will have a product line that will be available in retail stores. And so I'm very intentional about creating that and bringing that forward. But it was an outlet for me for my creativity. I have this incredibly creative mind, and I needed an outlet for that. And I find that, silly, no offense to anybody that has redneck humor. I think anybody that is a redneck embraces their redneckness and loves it. And I honor them and with the redneck humor. And so, but yeah, they do some silly things. And so it initially started out like, okay, I can have memes. And then like Enos and Earl, as we were creating the characters and bringing them forward. But then it was just now they are actually, I have a graphic designer that creates them. And so, we're going to come out with next year. We're going to have what's called the hunting calendar. And it's going to have all the different hunting seasons for all the different states.
Good.
And that doesn't exist in one place. You have to go online and you have to look it up for each individual state. I'm going to have a calendar that's going to have that all in it.
Wow.
So the 2024 calendar that will come out will have all of the different hunting seasons. So, and it'll be available in August of 2023 because that's when hunting season starts getting ready to open.
Right.
So moving that forward.
So when you're in that deer stand, did they ever catch any deer?
No, they didn't. And they certainly felt that it was my fault that they had not gotten any deer that day. And I just graciously, because the last 2.5 hours, I just sat there with my shoulders just going up and down because I was just making this whole world up in my head, So, I mean, there's Clem the clumsy deer that's coming out this year, and he wears camouflage with squirrels all over it because he got pegged by a car when he was a yearling and he has a broken hand. I mean, there's backstory for each one of these characters. So like I said, it's a whole world that lives in my head. And they, Enos and Earl have wives, Esther and Enid. And, Esther's very, very, very religious, and she judges Enid, Enid is very religious, and Esther is about as trashy as they come, and she sits there and judges Esther all day long, and it's pretty funny. So yeah, I mean, the vision that I have for them, I mean, it's just, yes, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's just, it can, when I get into my Enos and Earl mode, I have to have somebody running a recorder because it just flows.
Yeah.
And that's something that's one of the things that has been a challenge for me with this, is that I will have ideas, but I haven't always been able to capture them. And so I'm finding technology tools that I can utilize to capture the moment.
That's awesome.
Because, I mean, I remember we were last year, about this time last year, one of our mutual friends, Regina Bryant, was asking me, well, what's going on with Enos and Earl?
Yep.
And I said, well, they're in the woods and they came up with this new game of spin the Clem, and he just, there was nobody to capture it. And I had to just kind of go off of it. I called Regina. I was like, what did I say? What did I say in that moment? So I'm learning to have the technology now to capture that. And so, so it's been a wonderful time.
So I guess one of my questions is, do Enos and Earl appreciate NASCAR?
They absolutely love NASCAR.
Okay.
They are big fans of it. But they're not real big into the newfangled folks that are out there. Some of that they go back to the old petty days. They like the good NASCAR.
Okay.
The quality NASCAR when NASCAR was NASCAR.
Because I can imagine you incorporating some of that into an Enos and Earl calendar.
Yes.
As far as when racing season is going on, you could include that with hunting season. So yeah.
Very much so. And adding that in there of like, which racetracks are they going to get to and that kind of stuff. So absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to bring that forward. And so thinking into that, we may end up, it might be a goal for us to have an Enos and Earl car in 2025. Yes. So thank you for that inspiration. I like that.
I like that too. I think I could see Enos and Earl hanging out with a couple different race car drivers, and I think your brother would love them.
My brother would love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Is
your brother a big NASCAR fan?
He likes race car driving. I've been to one. She made me go to one here. In
awesome stuff.
I'm still trying to figure out what the point was.
I grew up. My dad liked race car, but he liked racing. He liked all different forms of racing. He likes Formula One. He liked NASCAR. He likes all of it. So I got to go to several different races, and he had never been to a race until this past summer. So.
Yeah.
Do you guys know?
I am.
What's that?
Do you guys know any of my history with NASCAR?
No.
Okay, so you know the ticker that goes across the top of the screen that kind of changed the fact that it became much more user friendly to watch NASCAR on television? My brother invented that.
Oh,
Cool.
Okay.
So yeah, so all of the graphics that you see with NASCAR, any of that all came from my brother and his company SMT Corporation.
Yeah, because your brother just launched. What is it that he just launched?
He's doing the hockey puck, the illuminated hockey puck.
Okay.
And so he's working with the NHL with that. They do also, and they just did the if you watched football yesterday, and it was like the Nickelodeon graphics.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed that or not. There was all of that. That was all my brother's company that did that as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Cool.
so I have some good DNA. So
you do.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Margaretrose, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you and contact you?
Okay, so one of the best ways that people can reach out and contact me is my phone number. I am happy to publish it. It's 850-694-6910. Send me a text message or give me a call. I'm always happy to speak with anybody. The other way is via email at mcoxjmt@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook at margaretrose.com or at Margaretrose Cox. There are 2 pages. One has a green M. That was once a business page, and I'm going to be updating that this year. But if you want to get into my regular Facebook, you're open to send me messages. Most of my posts are public, and the reason why is because I want people to see what all we got going on. On Instagram, at MaggieRowe1234, and at Margaretrose Cox on LinkedIn.
Excellent.
All right.
All right.
So yeah.
Very good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for being here.
This has been wonderful. I can't thank y'all enough for having me. I'm so honored to be a part of this. Thank you. I hope I did okay.
Oh, you did
great.
Fabulous. I knew you would.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we wanted you to be on the show.
Oh, there we go. And I apologize for the technical difficulties today. So, you know.
Big deal.
It happens.
Hey, isn't that why we go live? So we can have those moments and say, hey, we were live, so we were willing to put it out there.
Well, the other thing is that's how people know that you're live.
That's exactly
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, the other thing, too, is if anybody out there wants to follow Enos and Earl, please go to @Escapades of Enos and Earl.
Yep.
And it's on Facebook.
Yes,
so
they are indeed on Facebook, Escapades of Enos and Earl. And
enjoy this. Yeah. So I it's not a shameless plug, it's a happy plug. So, you know, we're all out there doing that. So, yeah.
Yep.
So I can't thank you again enough for having me. I hope I haven't gone too long, but you know, it's just part of the fun.
You're good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Folks, well, we will see all of you. Like we said earlier, Merry Christmas. By the time that we see you next, it'll be
New Year.
It'll be 2023.
Yeah. Woohoo. So,
woo-hoo!
Yay. Yeah. So, Margaretrose, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you. Thanks again for having me.
If they want to contact us,
how can they do that?
They could call us or text us at 412-420-7975. They could go to our website. What's our website?
ATigueOfYourOwn.com.
ATigueOfYourOwn.com. You can find us here on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn.
They can email us.
They could email us.
info@ATigueOfYourOwn.com.
info@ATigueOfYourOwn.com. So let us know. And if any of you out there want to be a guest on our show, Margaretrose was very graciously accepted our invitation. We'd be more than happy to have several others on. I know Michael Schultz is going to be joining us in the new year.
You got Michael Schultz to be on your show? That's awesome.
Yes.
Nobody wants to miss that. Everybody needs to be a part of that. Michael's
Michael
amazing.
Schultz is going to be on our show. We don't have a date yet. We have to get together with him for a date, but that'll probably be in January sometime.
Probably, yeah.
I'm thinking.
Awesome.
So he'll be on, but the rest of you out there, if you're interested in being in one of our shows, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to have you on as a guest. We love having guests. So in the meantime, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.